Hello and welcome back to FM21 and welcome to the first episode of our brand new series, A Season With, where we take control of a team for just one season and see how well we can do. It can be any team at all, whether they're struggling relegation fodder, facing a point deduction, an underperforming giant perhaps, or even a top team with a chance of winning several trophies. We'll take on the challenge anywhere and see how well we can do in just 1 year. And to start things off, we're going to take control over at Schalke, who are massively struggling at the moment. They're actually the joint third most successful team in Bundesliga history with 15 major trophies. But in recent years, it's all gone horribly wrong. At time of recording, they're actually bottom of the table with only one win all season and an utterly dismal record that stretches back from the second part of last season as well. It is just a total and utter collapse, and I cannot do it any justice describing it to you in this video, so I highly recommend visiting the HITC7 channel and taking a look at their video on the subject. Link in the description below. So it sounds like we've got a difficult task ahead of us, but we know just the man who's up for it. It's our German counterpart, Hans Wienerlot. What a handsome man. Slightly overweight, it has to be said, but I'm sure he's up to the task. So let's jump straight in and see exactly what we're dealing with. So first things first, let's take a look at exactly what the board wants from us. Obviously, we're only going to be here for one season, so it's absolutely required that we finish in the top half of the Bundesliga this year. That does seem to be a tough ask. We are predicted to finish 15th so far, so we need to do much better than expected of us, and they would really like us to reach the quarterfinals of the German Cup as well. Again, that does seem like quite an ask. It just depends on who we draw, I suppose, in all the other rounds. We need a bit of luck to get there, but we'll do what we can. Now, in terms of budget, it looks like we've got just over 3 million to spend and about 70,000 in wages available to us. Now, that's not a huge amount of money to strengthen the team, so perhaps we'll have to generate our own. I suspect that there are some high earners in this squad who may not be needed or want to move on. So let's take a look at who's available to us and make some decisions. So here is the squad. It looks like we're reasonably well covered in pretty much every position. What does stick out to me, however, is the lack of a right back. We do have Kylian Ludewig here, but he is only rated 2 stars by our coaches. That's not a promising sign. We have Alessandro Schopf here, who can play right wing back, but not right back by the looks of it. No, not very well at all. Definitely more of a wing back or a winger there. So I suspect that that's going to be one of our major priorities in this first transfer window. We have 3 players out on loan, and 2 of them actually look to be some of our best players. Weston McKennie, of course, who's out on loan at Juventus, probably not going to be coming back, and certainly not this season anyway, so we can write him off. Same with Sebastian Rudy, who does look to be a good option in midfield or at right back. So let's move all 3 of these guys into the under-19s and forget all about them because they're no use to us now. Just changing the order in terms of ability, it looks like we've got some good options through the middle of the park, a really good core. Amin Harrit, the team's star player, can play either on the left or in attacking midfield, looks to be an excellent player. Definitely someone we want to try and build the team around. He's currently wanted by Lyon, but hopefully we'll ward off their interest and keep him here. At only 23 years old, looks to be a very good option for us. I guess due to the struggles of last season, a lot of these players have lost value. Very low value players for the quality of them. We've got some very good options in the middle of the park. Serdar, Mascarell and Bentaleb all look excellent players, although a bit of concern about Bentaleb's 88 grand a week wages. We have no one interested in him at the moment, but perhaps someone to look to move on if we can. Some savings to be made there for sure, and at only 25 years old, hopefully we'll be able to move him on to someone that will be willing to pay for him. Some really good options in central defence as well. Nastasic, Sane and Ozan Kabak, all really good players. Kabak in particular is a really promising up-and-coming player. In real life he's just made the move to Liverpool, but we are not using the winter update for this save. We're starting as it was at the start of the season. Robbie Matondo, another young player that really catches the eye. Still a bit raw, there are some improvements to be made for sure, but he does have blistering pace and some reasonable technicals for a winger as well. Good crossing and dribbling stats, always important. I think we'll definitely find some use for him this season. Keep bedding him in the team and raising his value. It looks like another slight area of concern maybe up front. We do have Paciencia, who's on loan from Frankfurt. I expect he's going to be our first choice striker. Backing him up, we have Ibisevic, the 36-year-old Bosnian. Definitely has some good stats and we can use him for sure this season. I do expect that his ability will lower drastically throughout the season. He will deteriorate just because of his age alone. And with his contract running out at the end of the season, I can't see us offering him an extension. Though I wouldn't wouldn't rule it out. He is on very low wages and can certainly be useful to us. The other option is Mark Uth, I believe it's pronounced. I'm not totally sure on that one, just reading it how it is. Looks to be a decent forward. However, the big concern for me is that he is on 70 grand a week for not that skilled a player. If we are able to sell him, I expect I will. Again, Schalke do seem to be pretty desperate for money at the moment. There's a lot of money here going to him. 70 grand a week is ludicrous. So we'll see if we can find a home for him elsewhere. If not, I'm sure we will use him plenty throughout the season as well. So that was a very brief look at our squad. I would definitely like to sign a right back if possible, and perhaps another striker if we can get rid of Mark Uth. And it may be worth us seeing if we're able to sell either Nabil Bentaleb or Omar Mascarell, just because of their high wages alone. They're both very useful players, but I'm pretty sure we can afford to lose at least one of them, and use the money elsewhere to plug some of the other holes in this squad. Well, it's time to have a little play around with tactics and see what we can put together. So here is tactic idea number 1. It is a control possession 5-2-1-2 formation, utilising the good wing backs that we have in Mendel and Schopf, our 3 fantastic centre halves, Nasta6, Sane and Kabak, a really strong core in midfield of Mascarell, Serdar and Harit, and 2 really decent strikers in Paciencia and Uth up top. I expect we'll play this formation with either a balanced or a cautious approach, as it does seem to be more defensive, but with this I would definitely look to be keeping control of the ball. Now, while I do feel that this formation utilises the team pretty well, I do think it wastes the promising wingers that we have. It means we've got about 4 of them just sat on the bench doing nothing. They have no place in this formation really. And the other problem is that we do lack cover at the back with all of our good options out on the pitch. We already know that we have a problem at right back, but we do only have 3 decent central defenders, not including Stambouli, who can play there, but I prefer as a defensive midfielder really. And it does mean that I've had to promote some young youth players to the first team just to fill out the bench. They're not really up to it, but I do think this first 11 is strong and can definitely be a good option for us, this formation. Let's see what else we can put together. So here is formation number 2. It's a vertical tiki-taka 4-3-3 defensive midfielder wide, a much more common formation, and the team do seem to be pretty familiar with it. Again, it leaves us strong in the middle of the park. Stambouli has excellent stats to be a ball-winning midfielder in defensive midfield. Serdar and Mascarell are my preferred central midfielder parting. Bentaleb is an excellent alternative to the pair of them if we do end up keeping him here. Nasta6, Sane and Kabak can all rotate in central defence. 3 excellent options. We have star player Harriet out on the left wing in his preferred position, Paciencia up top on his own, and Raman and Matondo are both excellent options on that right wing too. In fact, the only downside to this formation at the moment is Ludwig at right back. As I've said, a new right back is now priority number 1, so we're going to take a look at the transfer list and see who we have available to us. So I've taken a look at the transfer list, in particular the 3 positions that I think are crucial to improve on in this team: at right back, central midfield if Bentaleb goes, and up top if we're able to sell Uth as well. And there do seem to be some interesting options. My first choice target for right back is Michael Lang, who plays for Mönchengladbach. Looks like a really decent option at right back and right wing back, so could fill in at both positions in the 2 formations that we've set so far. Listed for 3.3 million, so I think we can just about afford him if we do some fiddling around with the wage budgets. Option number 2 is Lucas Clunter from Hertha Berlin. Doesn't seem quite as technical a player, but he is wickedly fast. At only 24 years of age, he does have time on his side. Transfer listed for 2.8 million. Again, we can afford him. And option 3 is Danny Decosta, 27 years old, currently playing for Frankfurt. Again, a wickedly fast player. Does seem to be perfect for a wing-back role. He is the cheapest of the 3 of them, available for only 2 million, so we will be scouting the 3 of them even further and making some decisions later on. Up top, we have a couple of options here that we're taking a look at, but one that caught my eye was John Guidetti. Still only 28 years old. He seems like he's been around for ages, particularly in Football Manager, where he's always been excellent. Currently playing for Alaves in Spain. Looks like he still has excellent stats in his favourite target man role, and he's transfer listed for only 450k, so if we do sign a more expensive right back, it looks like he could be an excellent option as a backup striker. Once again, I'll be scouting all these guys further and making some decisions later on. And of course, we'll be taking a look at just a few midfielders, just in case we're able to sell Bentaleb. Jack Wilshere, of course, available on a free transfer at the start of FM21. Still a decent option at 28 years old, although of course he is injury prone, but would give us a nice attack-minded option in midfield there. Gonzalo Melero from Levante. Great stats for a box-to-box midfielder. I love a box-to-box midfielder, me. He would be a more expensive signing for us. Currently more money that we can afford, as he's listed for 5.5 million, but I do like the look of him so far. I'll be keeping an eye on this one, and if we can make a move, I probably will. David Timor at Getafe is another option for us. An advanced playmaker, looks to have decent stats. He is 30 years old, which isn't ideal, but a good creative outlet currently available for 3.4 million, worth us taking a further look at. So we know there are a lot of problems at Schalke in real life, and that is definitely reflected in this game. Poor team cohesion and an awful club atmosphere at the moment. I expect a couple of good results during pre-season would work wonders for this team and their morale. We've got a couple of friendlies already scheduled, including a game against Salzburg in just a couple of days, but I am going to try and schedule in a couple more against some lower quality opposition to work on our new formations, hopefully get some easy wins and boost these players' morale. A quick look at the staff we have available to us. Looks like the coaching team is decent, but could definitely do with some work in the goalkeeping department. I'll be looking to sign a good quality goalkeeping coach as soon as I can, and taking a look at our assistant manager Christoph Bühler. I do not think much of him at all. I think we can do much better at a club like Schalke, particularly considering his wages. Over £7,000 for someone of his ability is ridiculous. I mean, it's taken me literally seconds to find Dirk Mack here. Looks like he'd be available for a much lower wage, has much better stats, would be an excellent coach as well. Although his playing style and formation aren't quite what we're after for this team, there's no doubt in my mind that Dirk Mack would do a much better job. So let's see if we can get him in. Well, so far I've played through for only 2 in-game days, and there are already a couple of talking points. We've already had a bid put in for one of our first teamers, Alessandro Schopf, our right wing back. A bid came in from Borussia Mönchengladbach for about 2.2 million. I was able to negotiate them up to 5 million. Doesn't really seem like a lot of money for this player. He is a decent player. Let's look at his stats here. But at the end of the day, I can't really blame him for wanting to leave. The atmosphere at the club is appalling, and we've already decided that we want to sign a right back who can also play wing back. And I honestly feel like we could do quite a lot with the 5 million at the moment, so I've accepted the bid, and I expect that he'll leave the club in the near future. There's also quite a lot of speculation around some of our other players. I think it might be tough to keep hold of them, but I'd definitely like to. Amin Harit is still wanted by Lyon. Nastasic is wanted by Lyon Wolfsburg and a couple of others as well. And Mendel, our left wing back, is wanted by Mainz. Ideally, all 3 of these guys are going to stay around, but we never know, and I do feel like they'll probably kick up a fuss if we reject any bids, so we'll have to play it quite carefully. Well, it's time for our match against Salzburg, and I've decided to go with our 5-2-1-2 formation, our slightly more defensive formation, as Salzburg are an excellent team. It's exactly the same lineup as we chose earlier when we made the formation, so we'll just have to jump into the action and see how we do. So here are the lineups for today's game. Obviously a couple of well-known figures, in particular Szoboszlai. He's Salzburg's star player and probably one of the best young players in the game, so it will be very interesting to see how we do today. Here we come out on the pitch at Salzburg. Not many people in the crowd, and it's Salzburg with the kickoff. Szoboszlai with yet another corner. They've been all over us this first 5 minutes. Daka wins the header yet again. They've won all their headers from their corners so far, which is very concerning, considering we've got 3 at the back. Christensen with the throw-in, up to Daka. Daka heads back to Solé. And intercepted by Harit. Here we go, it's our time to burst forward. He's got 2 ahead of him, but he's taking it himself, and a good tackle. The ball falls back to Stankovic in the goal. Stankovic launches the ball forwards. Daka's there to win the header. Heads it to Szoboszlai, who's through on goal. Caught napping in defence, and a really good finish from Szoboszlai there. Really nice goal. Fallen asleep defensively, which is particularly disappointing. I think that's Kabak's side there. So just undone by a long ball. It's a great header from Daka. Ozan is sleeping, and Szoboszlai has a free path at the goal there. He's not going to miss. That's a particularly disappointing start from us. Just dribbling it across the whole of the field, completely unchallenged. Maybe control possession is not the best for this formation. We'll have to look around and make some tinkering. Ramelow with a shot on goal. Oh, and it smacks against the post. Mendel makes a complete mess of the clearance, but thankfully goes out for a goal kick. Nope, it's for a corner, so he made a complete mess of it. Szoboszlai with the corner. It's a long one, and they win the header yet again. What is going on? We've got some serious work to do with these guys. We're going to have to work on defending these set pieces. Lots of nice passing from Salzburg. Mwepu looks to get the cross in. He beats one. And oh, what a scramble in the goal line. We are extremely lucky there. I don't know how we got that. Thankfully the whistle blew for a foul anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. Over to Ramelow. Lays it back to Solé, who goes for a long shot, but cleared away by Serdar. Up to Uth. Heads it across to Paciencia. Plays in Uth again. Oh, and he's through. Come on, Uth. Here's a chance for you. Go on, lad. Finish it off. Oh, and straight at the keeper. The keeper makes a save. Very disappointing. I think that's our first proper chance all game. Christensen clears. And Daka, who is obviously very, very quick, beats all 3 of our defenders to the ball, has a one-on-one with the keeper from a tight angle, and a good save by Farman. Half time, and really, we're very lucky to only be 1-0 down. 16 shots with 5 on target from Salzburg, compared to our 1 shot. I mean, it says it all really. We've only had 41% of possession as well. We've just not been able to see any of the ball at all. Now, after that dismal showing, we're going to make a change at half-time to our 4-3-3 instead, which involves making 3 changes to the lineup. Off comes Kabak for Ludovic at right back. Schopf is off as well. Stambouli comes in at defensive midfield, and Mark Uth is replaced by Raman, who takes place on the right wing. Hopefully we're going to see a much improved performance with a lot more chances created this time. And Paciencia with the kickoff over to Mascarell, later back to Nastasic. Volber is there to pick up the ball, plays it up to Solet. Ball launched forward to Adiemi. Cross to Soboslai again. Come on lads, get stuck in. Good block from a Daka first time shot. And Farman is able to clear it away, thankfully. Salzburg look like a really decent team. Either that or we're making them look good. Stambouli on the ball. Launched forward to Rahman. I think the keeper's going to get there first, unfortunately. Not a very good ball. But cleared, picked up by Nastasic. Stambouli. Oh, and poor passing between them both. And Daka is completely through now. One-on-one with the keeper, and off the post and in. I mean, that was just so stupid. Such stupid, clumsy passing. Totally preventable goal. Well, I'm starting to think that these lads aren't as capable as I thought they were. Just unnecessary 1-2s from Nastasic and Stambouli, and Daka is completely through on goal there. Well, I'm not sure what's going to be best for this team now. I thought that having them press a little bit more, we'd see some improvements, but clearly not. We might have to play some proper relegation style hit and hope long balls. And Raman's through. This is good. Come on, Raman. Is anyone there to cross to? Hopefully they are. Oh, he's not able to get the cross away. Good block from the defender, but it is a corner. This is promising. Olmo gets the cross in. Oh, and a lovely save from Farman. A free header yet again. I thought our defence was meant to be good, but they are well out of position time and time again in this game. Ludovic's able to pick it up at least. Another cross in, Harrick's there, and headed clean over the bar with the goal at his mercy. I think that just sums it up, really. Okafor with plenty of space on the left-hand side. They're able to just pass it around now, as they will. Olmo, back to Okafor. Headed clear by Sane, up to Serdar. Serdar plays Rahman in. He's got lots of space in front of him. Come on, have a shot at least. Oh, and a lovely goal from Rahman. Really nice stuff. Basically had to do it all himself. A moment of magic. Too late to get back in the game, but lovely nonetheless. Serdar with an excellent ball. Rahman with lots of space in front of him. Just about a reasonable angle for a shot, and knocks it in on the top right-hand corner. Well, it's something at least. It's a positive. And there we go. It's a 2-1 loss. Too late for us to mount a comeback, but at least some promising signs right at the end of the game after a very, very disappointing game. Some very poor performances from what I believe to be decent players, really. Paciencia on a 6.2. Obviously couldn't get into the game at all. Mendel had a poor performance at left back. Nastasic at the back as well. Very poor from him. And our midfield just couldn't get into the game at all. Well, it's been a tough start to life at Schalke, but we've got a long way to go yet. All of pre-season, I'm going to be arranging some more friendlies as well. Get that morale up a little bit. And then we've got an extremely tough start to the new season, away at Bayern Munich. Not ideal, but let's get it out of the way fast. So next episode we'll be at the halfway point in the season, which will be just towards the end of January. I'm sure we'll have lots to catch up on. We'll have some new players to introduce, hopefully, particularly that right back that we definitely need to get in. And judging from today's performance, there may well be some new tactics as well. So join me in the next episode to see how we're getting on. If you've enjoyed this episode, this introduction to life at Schalke, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you do have any suggestions for teams you'd like to see us tackle for a season with, please leave a comment below and I'll definitely consider it. But that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!